You're not going to believe that this actually happened, but believe me, it did. This is why I take full payment for all my orders before I even lift a finger to start on a cake. It's Christmas 2012. I have a 3-year-old and a 2-year-old, and as you can imagine, juggling a cake business with 2 children that age when you're at home can be pretty chaotic. The run up to Christmas is a really busy time for cakes, and I was fully booked out. So the week before Christmas, I get this message from this lady wanting a cake for the 27th, and I explained to her that I'm completely booked out and I apologise. But she is distraught. She has forgotten her child's birthday, and she feels really guilty, and of course she piled it on really thick, and me being me, I felt sorry for her, and yes, I took on the order. Fast forward to Christmas Eve, and we have a lovely Christmas, but the whole time I was kicking myself as to why I took on this order. So around comes Boxing Day, and my in-laws always come to us for dinner on Boxing Day, and as soon as the door closed after they left, I had the oven turned on and the mixer out, and I was getting stuck into this cake. By this point I am so cross at myself. Anyhow, I worked all night on that cake. So I got the cake finished, I went to bed, got up the next morning, and I sent the lady a message, and you know what I'm going to say. Radio silence. I left it an hour or so and sent her another message. Not a dicky bird. I tried to call her. No answer. This is when it started to dawn on me that I'd made a horrible mistake and that I should have took full payment or even a deposit. Something. If she didn't live more than 2 hours away from me, honestly, I think I would have put the cake in the car and drove to her house and demanded that she took it, even if she didn't pay me for it, because it was just going to completely go to waste. Needless to say, I never heard from her again. She never ever did get back to me or reply to any of my messages. But the moral of the story is, don't do anything. Don't lift a finger, don't turn your oven on, don't turn your mixer on, don't even open a bag of flour until you've got full payment for your cake. I made this cake topper set about a month or so ago, and the mum had contacted me about 5 days before the party to say that she was so desperate she really needed a cake topper for her son's birthday. So I managed to get this made and sent out to her within about a 3 or 4 day turnaround. If somebody has a tight turnaround like that, I do charge extra. Anyhow, when she received the topper, she decided that she actually didn't need it anymore, and could I send her a refund? So I asked her to go ahead and return it for her full refund, to which she replied, "Oh, I actually do need the cake topper. I have already put it on the cake. I don't think you should have charged me extra for making it at short notice. And because you've overcharged me, the least you could do is let me keep it, use it, and send me a refund." This is a true story. People will try anything. Needless to say, she didn't get a refund. Sorry. Okay, so I have a story about cake mix. So whenever my cake business was at its height, I was doing between 3 to 5 cakes a week, and it was a lot. I had 2 kids under the age of 3, and I was a stay-at-home mum. This was my sideline. It was bonkers. The wholesalers that I used to buy my cake stuff from, I got really friendly with the receptionist there, and she seen me coming in and out with boxes of stuff every week, and I think she must have felt really sorry for me. So she asked me, "Have you ever thought about using cake mix?" Well, I'd never even really heard of this stuff. All I knew was that I was spending a fortune on time and ingredients making cakes from scratch. So it turned out they had a big sack of cake mix for about £16. So I start using this cake mix, and I'm thinking, where have you been all my life? Until about 2 months in from using the cake mix, I made a 3-tier mini mouse cake. There was so much work went into it. Customer loved it, sent her off in her merry way. 2 days later, get a message from the customer. It said, "Amanda, loved the cake, loved the design, loved the topper. Only problem was, the cake didn't taste so good. It was very bland." Once I replied, I went straight into the kitchen and I got that sack of cake mix, and it went straight into the bin, and I haven't used a cake mix since. And maybe I've had a really bad experience, and maybe there are really good cake mixes out there, but what I learned from that was not to sacrifice quality over quantity. A few years ago, I was asked to make a christening cake topper, and I wanted this to be really special because it's for a wee baby's christening. So I made a personalised figure of the wee baby and sent it off, only for the customer to send me, I must have got like 3 or 4 messages in a row. "The head's too big, the topper's too small, doesn't look right, it looks creepy, I'm not using this, you're a complete joke." She was not happy, and I was horrified, thinking I'd ruined this wee baby's christening. So of course I apologised and sent through a refund straight away. A week or so goes by, and what do I see on social media? Her finished cake with my cake topper. My refunded cake topper. Yeah, so it obviously wasn't that bad after all. This is why no return, no refund. When people do say that they're not happy and they want a refund, and when I go back and say, "If you return the item to me, I can send you a full refund," guess what happens? Radio silence. So my wee daughter loves everything burnt. Burnt pancakes, burnt toast. She just has a taste for burnt things. The other night I was giving her supper, which was burnt toast, when my 12-year-old son suddenly piped up, he can't be giving her burnt toast, it'll give her cancer. Well, we all fell about laughing. He heard it from YouTube, so it must be true, right? Thought nothing more of it. Still giving Holly her burnt pancakes for breakfast. Turns out the joke is on me, because my niece, who happens to be a doctor, was here on Friday. While they were here, Holly wanted to make toast for her 3-year-old cousin and asked him what way he likes his toast. So of course I joked, now make sure it's not burnt because burnt toast can give you cancer, you know. To which my niece said, well, do you know what? There's a tiny wee bit of truth in that. Am I the only one that didn't know this? So now I don't know what to do, because it's like, hear all these different things, like don't do this, don't do that, and then suddenly it's fine. So what do you think? Do I need to stop Holly's burnt toast and pancakes tradition? I was talking to a cake buddy of mine and she was telling me about what happened to her through the week. This isn't my story, it's her story, but it's too good not to tell. So she is amazing at cakes, super duper talented. So she makes this cake. I mean, come on, how talented is she? It's crazy, right? She delivers this cake to her customer. Customer's delighted, of course, how could you not be? And everything's fine. An hour later, she gets a phone call. Customer isn't happy. Apparently the cake is damaged. I'm going to show you a picture of the damaged cake. Very suspicious, right? It kind of reminds me of the episode of Friends where Ross tries to return the couch that he cut in half. I want to return this cake. This cake is damaged. Did you damage this cake? This cake is damaged. Yeah, looks like the customer's damaged the cake and is trying to get a refund. What do I do when somebody's disappointed with their order? My opinion on this doesn't really matter. This is just what I do, and this is just what feels right for me. So I thought I would share with you how I roll. By the way, you can get the tutorial for this wee doggy on YouTube. So if somebody receives a topper of mine and they're disappointed, I am gutted. I'm gutted for them. I'm gutted for me because I've put in all that hard work, but I'm mainly gutted for the customer because they've had this expectation and they're disappointed. And to be honest, if they don't like it, then that's fine. I'm not going to argue with them over it. If they don't like it, they can't help that they don't like it. And where I stand on this is I just don't feel right making them keep something that I've made for them that they don't like. So in this situation, I always offer a refund. I have learned the hard way that people like to chance their arm. They like to try and hold on to the topper and get a refund. So what I do is ask them to return the topper. Yes, I can't reuse it. Yes, it's just going to go straight in the bin. But this just keeps me and the customer right. Bottom line is, customers genuinely disappointed and unhappy with their order. I get them to pop it in the post and I send their refund through. The exception to this rule would be if you're being a real Karen. And in that case, no refund. Sorry. If I ever want an honest opinion on how my cake or cake topper's looking, I know exactly where to go, and that's to one of my kids. Because they're brutally honest. Last week I was making this Sonic cake and my 8-year-old who's Sonic mad came in and pointed out where I was going wrong with the cake. It's so funny. It was only when I was editing the video that I heard his wee voice.
And I see them kind of like pointing back where it's
yes.
Because then when Sonic... Like,
I've put them too close to the front, haven't I?
A bit, I think.
Yeah.
I think you would have to like...
Like this, towards the back?
Yeah, towards the back of it, I think.
Thank you.
Yeah. And then...
That's better, isn't it?
And then I think that big one...
Uh-huh.
I think it's a bit big, so it needs to go back a bit. Because it's kind of like, you know, ruining the purpose. Because it's like really big and it's kind of...
Yeah.
Like I think it needs to go back a bit.
Back a bit.
Well, it's your cake. Let me see. I think that's good if you put it there.
Thanks for your help, buddy. So what do you think? Was Dylan right? I think he was. The templates I used for this cake are in my Etsy shop if you fancy having a wee go at this cake yourself. Just be careful where you put the spikes. So, I used to have this customer. She was my favourite customer in the whole world. She used to buy cakes off me, I would say, on a monthly basis. She was amazing. She would have come up with all these amazing ideas for cakes and I just loved her. But she lived about 30 miles away from me, so I used to feel really bad for her because anytime she was wanting to pick up a cake, she was doing a 60-mile round trip. So I thought, why don't I just meet you halfway? So that was great and we set up a meeting point. However, she was always late and my kids were really young at the time. And I remember one day sitting there for 45 minutes waiting on her with 2 kids in the car. So this became a thing that every time that I was meeting her with the cake, she would always be late. But because I really liked her and because she was so nice, I never said anything about it. Anyhow, I ended up pregnant with my 3rd wee baby, so I had to put cakes on hold for a while. But now looking back, I just think, why did I do that? Why did I put her time ahead of my own time? Why did I put more value on her time and what her journey was over how much it was putting me out? The moral of the story is learn from my mistakes and stop putting your customers, well, I was going to say stop putting your customers first. Put your customers first, but not at your own detriment. I hope this helps.